Good morning and welcome. I was so excited to see so many new faces. I can't see anything now because of the lights. But I am Reverend Cindy Grimes, and I'm the senior minister here at Oakbrook Center for Spiritual Living for our first-time visitors. And I will not be speaking this morning. I will be doing a little singing later, but I wanted to make my welcome and hope that you feel at home here. And I want to introduce some of my very dearest friends who will be speaking this morning. We have the great pleasure and honor of welcoming Reverend Ed Tanzi and Reverend George Stewart from the CSL Greater Boston, who will be offering the message today. And my heart is just so full to have them here. You know, when I first walked into a CSL, I felt like I found my tribe. These are my people. And within this tribe, there are people who are even closer to me. And these two gentlemen, I call Ed my brother from another mother. We're just, and then my brother-in-law then, with George. And they are wonderful, wonderful people, just tremendous energy. Everyone, those who know them, who have seen them before, we're so excited. Ed and George are here, yes. And so we are just very thrilled. I know that their message will open your heart and expand your mind, and I'm just so very excited for all of us to be here together today. And I will turn it over.
So I'm going to bring us all together with a beautiful song. So when I was a child, I could see the wind in the trees, and I heard a song in the breeze. It was there singing out my name. But I'm not a boy. I have known the taste of defeat, but have finally grown to believe it will all come around again. Though I may not know the answers, I can finally say I'm free. If the questions let me hear, then I am who I was born to be. And so here am I, opened arms and making a stand. I've got the world in my hands, and it feels like my turn to fly. Though I may not know the answers, I can finally say I'm free. If the questions let me hear, then I am who I was born to be. When I was a child, there were flowers that bloomed in the night, unafraid to take in the light, unashamed to have braved the dark. Though I may not know the answers, I can finally say I'm free. If the questions let me hear, then I am who I was born to be. I am who I was born to be.
To be here with Reverend Cindy and all her spiritual family and her family is such a gift, such a wonderful gift, and we just love being here, Cindy. And I'd also like to say hello to our spiritual family in CSL Greater Boston who might be watching this on, I believe, Facebook, because we let everyone know, of course, that we were coming here. So hello to Boston. Hello to Boston. All right. Now, okay. Who is she? Sally Fields. And what was that TV program that she really, I think, became very famous for? The Flying Nun. Didn't you love her hat? Her hat was phenomenal. I wanted one of those hats, and I pictured myself on the back of a scooter with the hat flapping up and down. But how many of you remember this happening? This happening. Does anyone remember the year that it happened? 1984. She received the award for Best Actress in Places in the Heart. Now, I know I've aged some of you. How many never knew this person or never saw The Flying Nun? Raise your hand if you've never seen yes, the young ones in the audience. Well, coming from a vintaged person, it was a great show. See if they have that on like an old station that you could watch. Netflix, okay. But what I'd like to know here is how many of you have been recognized for doing something special? Just think about that for a moment. How many of you have had that recognition? Now, I'm not talking like an Oscar, Best Actor, Best Actress, whatever it may be. But of course, Rev G always says that I deserve the Oscar for my daily performance at home. So he gets to see that every day, but he says, I should get an Oscar for that. And he should know, right, Rev G? Rev G, you should know that. But more seriously, getting an Oscar or having recognition, getting recognition, is an effect. An effect is anything that shows up in spiritual form. And effects come from ideas. Would you agree on that? Effects come from ideas? Okay. And these ideas are the real cause behind the effects. And we know that God is all there is. God is in back of everything. And that all manifestations are really ideas that begin in the mind of God, in the divine mind. And these ideas are expressed as us, through us. Here's the great thing. Each expression is a unique, individualized expression. So I can look at each and every one of you around this room and see how beautiful God shows up. And when you live in a world that is so wonderfully diverse, and we can appreciate and love and honor each expression, that's when we live in harmony. What I'd like you to do right now is look at your neighbor. And just while you are looking, say to yourself, I see the divine in expression. Please do that, everyone. I see the divine in expression. You feel a little warmer? Do you feel a little warmer, looking at each other and realizing each other's presence? I know that when I realize my essence, my God-given nature, and we all know what our essence is, but if you don't, I'll remind you. The love, the peace, the harmony, the abundance, the prosperity, the compassion. That is our nature, and that nature has been divinely given. So Newsflash, no one, no experience can take the divine nature of who each and every one of us are because it was divine given. And even myself, I can't take my nature away from me. I might forget it now and then when I'm feeling this little sense of separation, but that is who I am at the core of my being. That's who each and every one of you are at the core of your being. And you know, when I realize that, I become more courageous. My faith deepens. And there's a drive inside of me that rises. When I realize I'm one of the divine, one with that divine nature, there's nothing I feel that I can't accomplish. I walk like strutting. Yeah, here I am. I can do whatever I set out to do. Have you had that experience here? Anyone? Isn't it wonderful? Doesn't it make you feel, here I am? I don't have to go to the gym. I've got the strength within me because I don't go to the gym. My gym has been on freeze for what, George? A year and a half? Okay. But anyway, all right. So the thing to remember here is when we step out of that comfort zone, this is when we are able to experience all of the wonderful, infinite possibilities that are in the energy field. We can experience anything we want. And I know, as I said, when I'm expressing as God, I am open. I am open to live a passionate, courageous life. And what helps me, I realize that God is my teammate. God is on my team. Now, if someone said, who would you like on your team? I say to myself, you'd be nice, but I'm sorry. I got the man. I got the woman. I got the energy behind me because God has my back. God is on my team. And everything works out for our highest and best good. Even when it doesn't look it. Even when it doesn't look it. So now if we can get to this next slide. This is one of the slides we use in our Beyond Limits class, one of the foundational classes of Science of Mind. And I love this slide. Now you might say, why is he showing me an iceberg? Well, I relate it to spirit. What we don't see, of course, but you see it here, under the water is all of this ice supporting the little amount that does show in manifestation. So, how I relate it to spirit, this is God. This is spirit holding up and supporting what we see in form. Do you like that kind of correlation? I think it's pretty good. I love this slide. And I feel that shows in visible form the invisible. So that I really enjoy that slide. So enough of the slide. Okay, so I'll go to this quote. There it is. Can we read that together? We should always be breaking down old patterns of thought and creating new ones of greater vision. And of course, that was by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. It's a nice quote. But do we always live for our higher vision? I know I didn't always, because years ago, before I came into Science of Mind, I was living mostly negative thoughts. And I really didn't understand how what you think shows up in your life as we do as religious scientists. And let me tell you, my life was dark. There were shadows. It was not unhappy. Now, have any of you had any experience of some of the repercussions we get from negative thinking? If you have, raise your hand. You're honest. I'm glad to see that. Yes, well, let me tell you, I lived that life. And what that did to me, living from my negative thoughts, it put me in my own prison. I was the warden. I was the key holder. And I had myself wrapped in chains, wrapped in shackles, because I could not get out of that shadow, that negative way of living. It was really, I must say, it was like hell for me. So when they say heaven and hell are here on earth, I experienced hell here on earth in my consciousness. So what happened in 2002, I was living in Palm Springs, California, And I had two very dear friends who were kind of concerned about my well-being because I was living in such dark places and experiencing negative happenings. So they came to me one weekend, it was a Friday, and said, "What are you doing Sunday morning?" "Nothing." "So, would you come with us and stay with us till about noontime?" Yeah, I would go anyway. "Yeah, where are we going?" "We're not going to tell you." Because if they told me they were taking me to anything that resembled church or anything that resembled God, because I said I was living very darkly, I didn't have any thoughts of wanting to have anything to do with, quote, my God, because I didn't like my God, because I didn't like myself. So they took me. And I realized, oh my, they're taking me to a center. At that point, a church. Smoke, I'm Italian, smoke coming out of my ears, but I said, I gave them my word. I sat there, I will never forget this. I was very mad, I was aggravated. But I said, all right, get out of this. I started looking around at people. This was before the ministers came around. And I saw smiling faces. I saw people being kind to each other. I started softening up. And then I heard the husband and wife minister team in Palm Springs. They hold such a dear place in my heart. It was Reverend Florence and her husband. It was just so beautiful. I heard them speak, and I said, people believe this? There is a place, there are human beings who practice this, and I'm feeling good other than beaten down? That was it. I was sold from day one. I never stopped going since. So that's when I was studying more and more, and I was learning about oneness and wholeness and my dominion over my life and about love, and I was learning about my divine nature. Here's what happened to me. That's me parachuting out of a perfectly fine plane, 12,500 feet. And I was saying to myself, what am I doing here? But the point is, I was coming from knowing my wholeness, knowing my nature, living from that place, and it gave me courage. Courage enough to face one of my biggest fears, jumping out of a plane. That was my 50th birthday. And that was one of the most phenomenal experiences. Has anyone ever parachuted here out of a plane? You did. Did you like it? Yeah. Did you like it? Yeah. But people kind of think you're crazy. Why are you jumping out of a perfectly fine plane? So anyway, that's one of the many, many things that has happened to me because of me liking myself, of me reaching out for those infinite possibilities that are there, and this philosophy has opened my mind, and I became receptive to all of these possibilities because I was living from my truth. When each and every one of you have lived from your truth, don't you see or do you feel a difference? It's an amazing boost of energy. It's like, the boosters of a rocket that's going up. You feel invigorated. And that's what I was feeling. That's what I was feeling. It was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal, and I'll never, never forget it. So that happened. That happened because I began coming and living from my truth, which therefore caused me to like myself. I like me. I really like me.
There I am. So when we talk about this idea of passionate, courageous living, which I think we'll move on from that, if I can make this happen. Wait over here.
I kind of like it up there myself.
I'm sure you do. Don't try that at home. Okay. You want to make that clicker work? Good. Now that's really crazy because he's the one who doesn't do mechanical things, so. So when we talk about this idea, and I'm sure, I absolutely know that our beloved friend and deep family member, your beautiful Reverend Cindy encourages you here at Oakbrook Center for Spiritual Living to live this passionate, courageous, and fearless life, right? Doesn't she encourage you to do that? Yes. To move beyond, right? Because that's what we do here. And for me, it's like when I think about, so where does passionate, courageous living begin? Where does it begin? In the heart? Yeah, in the heart and the head and so forth. There's a turkey trying to get me back here. Anyway. So for me, it's like when I think about it, yes, exactly, connecting with that indwelling presence. Connecting with our indwelling presence to really get into that feeling of oneness, that place of oneness. Because when we're in that, it's really easy to move forward into life, into a greater form, into a greater expression. And we do that, at least for me, I know that I use things like meditating, journaling. Anybody use any of these? Meditating, journaling, right? We use these different things. Spiritual mind treatment, which is focusing what we desire. So there's all of these different things that we use. I love visioning. We are a vision-led center at CSL Greater Boston. So visioning is our way of growing as an organization. What is Spirit's highest idea of who we are as an expression? There's also our wonderful inspirational reading materials that we have, which lift us and raise us up, and taking classes, deepening who I am as a spiritual being, because all of that really connects me, deepens my expression in that divine presence, so that I know who I am. So from here, once we do that work, once we do that moving within and really getting in contact with that indwelling presence, then we have the opportunity to look at our lives. Now, we can look at our lives and we can say, am I living that big, courageous, out there kind of life? Or am I living more of a small experience? Am I keeping to myself? Am I not connecting with others? Am I not finding that opportunity to maybe smile at a stranger? Or whatever that is. Am I living that way, or am I living in a place where I'm willing to be more open to things? And that's what this is about. It's getting to that place of realizing that I can live in a place of connecting with the allness of life. I can live that way. I have that opportunity. And it's a part of me. Because as Reverend Ed said, if God's got your back, who's against you? Well, I know who's against me. It's usually me. It's usually me who's getting in the way of living that full and complete and beautiful life that we were brought here for. We were brought here to be that, to be the highest and the best. So ask yourself, do I see myself as part of all, or do I find that I am separated? Think about that for a moment. Do I feel like I'm a part of the all, or do I feel separated? Because what happens when we're in the separation? We're not our courageous, passionate selves, are we? So if I'm separated, then where do I go? Back to the spiritual practices, right? To reconnect with what it is that I'm meant to be. So in these places of separation, I can take these into my spiritual mind treatment to get myself connected. Because I love the first two steps of spiritual mind treatment are basically saying, all the divine is me too. Right? God is all love. Me too. God is all peace. Me too. Isn't that great? So easy. I stole that from Reverend Ian in Concordia. So. But it really wakes you up to who you are, to recognize that you are all of that. So from there, when I connect with that, I can be more passionate in life. I can be more courageous. I can step forward in life in a way that I never imagined was possible. And so it's important that we do that. And so when we looked back at that slide, if we think about that slide that we saw earlier of you like me, you really like me, that puts it on the outside, as Reverend Ed said. It puts it on the outside. Oh, that's way back. Well, that's the one that, not yet. Well, he just threw me under the bus, but but that's my beloved Rev Ed. Anyway, so when we put it on the outside, as it was before, you like me, you really like me, what happens? I become dependent on others for my good, don't I? So I propose, and now you can do the slide, thank you. Okie dokie then, now we're, alrighty then. So we'll get there, I know we will.
Let's build it up. Come on.
All right, so anyway, so preparing for this, here we go, and I like me. I really like me. How does that feel? Turned it around, didn't we? Turned it around into something new. So it's really important that we get there, because if I can like me, really like me, then, you know, it's awesome. It's powerful. You know, it's what we live for. It's what we're here for, is to really like ourselves. Because if I like myself, is it not easier for me to like you? Right? It's so much easier when we do that. So it's really important to begin with ourselves, because I cannot fill your cup from an empty cup. Right? We need to fill our cup. And by loving myself, that radiates out to you when I can be in that place. So because the divine is expressing as us, which is an important thing to recognize, we are always able to like me. Really like me. I can really like myself. Because I realize that if I don't like me, then I don't like God. Because I am an expression of God, as is each one of us. So when I'm in that place of not liking myself, I'm not liking the divine. And that's not a good place to be. So we have to really work on that. So for me, what I want to share with you is my personal story, because there was a time in my life that I really didn't like me that much. I didn't really like me at all, because I was an extremely shy child. Now I know, yeah, I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. And Rev Ed has always said, you were so quiet when I met you, but you're not anymore. When I was a child, I was extremely, extremely shy, painfully shy. My mother actually said she would have to like steal my jacket from me, because I would wear my jacket. It was my security jacket. I never took it off. I lived in Southern California, so I really didn't need a jacket. But I was in this jacket all the time because that gave me my security, because I didn't want to be seen. I wanted to be invisible. I wanted to be invisible. And it was not a good place to be. It was a tough place to be. And it left me feeling so separated and so sad. But I was blessed in that there was something that came to me. Something happened in my life that made me realize I could move out of that. And that was that as I was in high school, I walked by the theater arts department. And they were having a wild, crazy time doing something. I didn't know what it was, but I said, I want to be a part of that. So the divine in me woke up enough to say, there's something there I need to know. And when I went there, what happened is I meet this wonderful theater teacher who was this quiet, very shy kind of person. So it was like, oh, someone like me. I can connect with that. And he taught mime. Even better. I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to do things, right? And what I learned in mime is that I learned that in mime, you're actually creating a reality for people that they can see even though it's invisible, right? Like if I grab something, right? You see a cup, don't you? Right? So I'm creating from the infinite invisible. I even set it down. Did you see that? Oh, I hope I don't leave a ring, but anyway. So that was the beginning. But then after that, I got braver. And I ended up playing the frog, and what was it, in Alice in Wonderland. I was the frog in Alice in Wonderland. And I moved up from there, and I moved into musicals, and I moved into all of these different things. And I grew up as an individual in that place. And then when I was blessed enough to find this teaching, I was absolutely in joy realizing it's like, I get why all that happened because I'm here now. It brought me to this place, to who I am as an expression of the divine, so that I can stand in front of you and say, you're awesome. Yes, you are awesome. We are all awesome. And you could just say it again. I like me. I really like me. Doesn't that feel good? I love that. I love that. So what I would ask you to do is to live passionately and courageously and be a part of this amazing creation the divine has provided for us to live in. Because this is an amazing time. No matter what the time, no matter what the appearance, this is an amazing time. And I have the opportunity to live that right now, in this moment. And so I am going to ask each and every one of you, and I'll ask Reverend Cindy if you will please come forward, because we're going to give you an award today. Since we're talking about the Oscars, we're going to give you an award today. And once you get your awards, everybody gets their awards, we're going to read the back together. So let's, if everyone will come up for their award.
You have to keep your feet. This is so short.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love you.
You're welcome. Hey there. You're welcome.
This is holy ground. And you want me to use this as a bookmark?
Absolutely. And we have more of these, so feel free if you need some more. All right, so let's look at the back of the card, and let's read this together, because I think this is really powerful. I am free to live a passionate, courageous life because I know that God is expressed as me. Therefore, my highest good is provided. Namaste.
I'd like to do a spiritual mind treatment to end our part of this program today. So if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, sit back in that chair, let that chair support you, but fully realizing it is not the chair that is supporting you, it is the divine that is supporting you. So just close those eyes, and let's take a few quiet, deep breaths, breathing into that inner sanctuary, that place of quiet, that place of peace, that place of safety. And as you are breathing, I'd like you to listen to your body's symphony, which is your heartbeat, your unique heartbeat. Listen to that and let it relax you. So the purpose of this treatment is that I know that each and all live and express God and experience passionate, courageous living. And coming from that purpose, I know that there is absolutely one creative intelligence, one power, one vibration, one energy that is in, through, and as everything. It is all God. It is all the divine. It is all good. Whatever you want to name this power, It is in, through, and as everything that we see and know and things that we don't see and know here in this vibration called life. And the divine nature of God is that love and abundance and peace and harmony and joy and perfection and wholeness. That is the divine nature. And I am one with that nature. I am a child of the infinite. I am whole. I am perfect. I am complete. And as that is my truth, that is the truth of each and every one here and each and every one throughout the cosmos. Each one is one with each other. Each one is one of the divine. Each one is one with nature. And as each person walks from the truth of their being, I so know and so believe that as you walk from that truth, you have courage, you have faith, you have a desire to step out of your comfort zone. I see that for each and every one here, that you do step out of your comfort zone, that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, that you are experiencing the infinite possibilities that are yours to grab because of who you are. I see this, and I know that each and every one here says a yes to any of those possibilities and experience the bliss of life that is here for each and every one to experience throughout this cosmos. I am so grateful that I hold this truth. I am so grateful that I call forth this truth here and now. And I am 100 times grateful knowing that each one is living life in the way it is meant to be lived, experiencing the beauty, the magnificence, and the love that is here for each one to grab onto and take into themselves and share it with each other. I am grateful for that. And I now release this prayer, these words, into the law of cause and effect, and fully knowing and fully realizing that once the word has been released, it is manifested in the mind of God. Therefore, it is manifested for each and every one here. I say amen to this, and please join and root this truth by saying together, and so it is.